This is going to be a really fun in-depth video, and these are hairstyles and different phases while your hair is growing out. And I do have a bunch of mannequins and haircuts I'm going to show you. So let's say you're starting off with a feathered, this could be a woman's haircut, a feathered layered haircut, and you want to grow this out. What's going to happen is as this grows, this will start to eventually weigh itself down, because when the hair is really short, you're able to spike it, you're able to piece it and things like that. And as it grows, it's going to form a different type of shape. So what you need to start doing is understanding in this phase what you can do to change up the way the hair looks by spiking it maybe differently, doing more of like a side part, maybe wearing it a bit more matte this way, changing up the texture. So it's all about just moving the hair around. And you can see just by doing this, it automatically modernized and softened the hairstyle just by me going like this. So it really comes down to changing the shape of the hairstyle itself, because the hair will become longer. And this goes for anyone with shorter hair growing it out. You're going to have a lot more pliability and flexibility to style it as it's growing. Here's another hairstyle. So let's just say you're getting the hair really short throughout the sides. What's going to happen is as you're growing your hair longer from a shorter taper or something like that, this, depending on your hair type, it will start to look a little bushy and heavy. And in some situations, depending on your hair type, it may start to stick straight out this way. What you need to do, and it's really important in this situation, is that you understand the way your hair pattern grows. Yes, and that's why a lot of times your hair may stick out a certain way on the sides or somewhere else, because when you go against the grain of the way it grows, what's going to happen is it's going to want to go back to its original state. So if this hair grows forward like this, and I push it back, what's it going to want to do? It's going to want to spring back forward. So by understanding, and you can do this simply by utilizing a comb, right? And this is one of my combs. This is my carbon comb. This is a solid comb. You can experiment by just combing the hair down like this. And when you start to comb it and you see it laying very flat, that's going to tell you, look how flat that looks now compared to this side, right? What it's going to show you and demonstrate, like, oh, the hair grows down this way. So by doing that, you're able to kind of take down some of the bulk. As compared to this side, you could see the difference, right? And if this is you know where I'm talking about. And let me know in the comments below. So you could see by working the hair forward, because it grows that way, look what happens. It's automatically taming it down. So same thing throughout the top here. The top, what's going to happen is this front piece that you're used to spiking up or adding some texture to is going to start to get a little bit longer. So it really depends on the hairstyle you want, but this is where hair products really come in handy. And I have a huge variety of different hair products that you can choose from. Shop.TheSalonGuy.com, or even right here in my store on YouTube here. This is my new sea salt hair powder. It's called Beach House. It's going to be replacing my talc powder, because I think this is better quality sea salt. And you can literally just dab it on the hair very lightly like this, and you're able to add some texture and some pliability to it just by adding a little bit of powder, right? And this powder does have a little bit of grit to it, right? But as you work it into the hands and into the hair, you're going to start to have that kind of powdery type of texture, and you can then manipulate the hair however you want, right? So I think even just adding a little bit of product is going to help. And that's the thing about this, is that you want to be able to utilize this to soak up the oils. That's another great thing about this sea salt powder, is that, yeah, it's a little bit, I would say, more intense than a traditional powder, but this is going to give you that styling capability, and it's going to really help soak up a lot of those oils and give you different options when styling your hair. Now, let's say you want to grow your hair out, maybe it's shorter, and you have maybe an undercut. This is somewhat of an undercut in through here, as you can see, right? Now, what do you usually do? A lot of times people are going to say, oh, do I cut the top? Do I let the sides grow out? Like, what do I do? So here's what you need to do. Depending on how short your hair is on the sides, let's just say you're getting like a number 1 undercut, and this is all longer and disconnected. You know, what's gonna happen is if you just let that grow out, the top obviously is gonna be a lot longer. On the flip side of it, the good thing is that as this grows, this is gonna grow with it as well. And it's gonna start to blend into itself to where it doesn't look like it's so disconnected because the buzz is getting longer. Like for example, this haircut, when I go like this, right, it's disconnected, but it doesn't look as obvious even on this side because of the fact that it's a longer grown out buzz, right? Say this is like maybe like a number 3 guard or something. Compared to if this was like a number 1, 1.5, or a skin fade, fully disconnected, it's gonna look like, okay, it's obviously very, very different. You're gonna have to go through that phase of letting this grow. And yes, this top is going to get longer. So if you're gonna go get your haircut in a situation like this, you can tell the stylist or the barber, hey, I'm growing this out. Maybe just clean up around the ears. Do not fade anything whatsoever. Just go around the ears to clean it up here. Don't taper anything. I wanna grow this out to where it's maybe like, you know, 1.5 inches throughout the sides here. I just want you to kind of clean up the top a little bit and maybe take like 1 inch, 1.5 inches off. So as it grows, it kind of blends into itself and it's not so disconnected. That's the important thing, is using the terminology and sometimes, I hate to say this, but depending on the skill level of the professional, the hair professional, they may not even understand what the heck you're talking about. I hate to say it because I've seen it a million times working in salons. You need to actually visually show them, saying, yeah, all of this is disconnected here. You have to literally pick your hair up in the mirror and say, look, see all this? Well, it's very disconnected. I want this a little bit shorter so as it grows, it's not so obvious. Then it's up to them to execute the haircut properly. The super popular, you know, trendy TikToker type of hairstyle. Now, let's just say you want to grow this out, right? You want to grow this out. What's going to happen is you're going to have to deal with the hair being in the face. It's already long enough, and it comes down to here on its own. Even though you brush it back and you can you can style it and fluff it up and things like that. You know, the thing is like, if you want to grow your hair out from this hairstyle, it's going to look really heavy and really, really long relatively quickly. The best thing about this is styling your hair differently. So try the opposite. If your hair is always falling forward like this, you may have to do kind of something where it's off the face, maybe a side part, but opposite, because this is a hairstyle where all the hair is falling forward. So what you need to do is create a hairstyle where the hair becomes off your face, maybe try a side parting and start to get used to working the hair off the face. Maybe try a middle part or a side part, and then you're gonna have to use product. You know, something like my crafted matte pomade is a really great product. You know, Success Paste. Any one of my styling products is gonna help, but you want something a little more light so that you can run the hands through it a little bit easier, and it's gonna give you more styling options. If your hair is already this long, or if your hair is shorter and you wanna get to this length, it's one of those things, again, you have to let it grow to where it's actually longer than the style you have, because what's gonna happen is, and you don't want this to happen, is you go in and the professional will actually cut your hair way too short. So say you're trying to grow your hair and you go in and you want a haircut to shape it up, right? And you're like, oh, I'm still trying to grow it, just trim up the dead ends. And they end up completely chopping your hair off 1.5 inches, 2 inches shorter, and you're back to square one again, and you lost like, 2 months worth of hair growth, and now you're like, oh my gosh, I'm starting all over again from the beginning. This is ridiculous. So if you're trying to grow your hair from a style that's already somewhat longer like this, once again, it comes down to, if the hair's in the face, take it off the face, right? If your hair's a lot shorter and you want to grow it into something like this, the best thing you can do is make sure you get it shaped. And when I say shaped, that means even if your hair is shorter than this, if you cut the hair to where it's still slightly layered, right? It's layered, and actually I have a mannequin right here that is a perfect example. Say you want to go from something like this, okay? You want to go from this type of style right here to something like this. You can see it's much shorter. So the hair will actually, believe it or not, because it's all layered, the hair will actually grow into itself into this because of the shape already being there. And you can see these are all just layers in through here. Same thing like this. It's just a longer version. This is longer than this, and the front is a lot longer. So let it grow out to where it does end up looking like it's a little bit on the messier side, but then once it gets to that length that you like, go even a little bit longer and then get it shaped up. And you have to really, really explain to the hair professional, you know, what you're looking for, and say, look, I like the length, I've been letting my hair grow. You know, you almost want to freak them out in a sense of like, you know, hey, I've been working really hard on this to grow my hair out, and don't take too much off. I just want to skim the ends. You're better off building that trust, and just don't go into any random barber who does skin fades all day and you want a haircut like this. Like, you need to really make sure and check out their work. Are they comfortable with working on longer hair? It's the same thing with a hair salon. You don't go into a hair salon and expect a hairstylist who works on 80-year-old women every day to do a skin fade. It's just, you have to make sure that it matches up. Now, one thing I'm going to share with you that's going to be extremely helpful is understanding haircut shapes. A lot of the times I explain when I'm cutting hair, haircut shapes, and I've created 2 ebook manuals, and you're not going to believe how cheap they are. $10 each. $10. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars learning this. I'm offering it for $10 each. They are right here. You can purchase them right here. They're an ebook. After you purchase it on my store, you get instant access to download it. It's now yours. It's a PDF file, and I explain to you different haircut shapes and the best face shapes for those. Okay, I created this thing. I spent a lot of time. I have one for men's haircuts, which is about 17 pages, and then one's for women's haircuts, which is like 28 pages. Okay, so really valuable information for only $10. You can $10 each. You can then go into your hairstylist understanding the different types of haircut shapes. You're probably going to end up knowing more than they do, believe it or not. There's tons of professionals who don't even understand the different types of haircut shapes. So I think it's going to be very, very valuable to you. Let me know if you enjoy this video. If you want to get any of my products right here in the store, or shop.thesalonguy.com, and use code YouTube20 for 20% off. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon.